I watched let me try that again. I watched a lot of Sinner this weekend, and this is my movie analysis of it. I watched this movie twice. First time in IMAX and second time in 2D. I can say it, both were very enjoyable experiences. And I did have plans of making this video too, which is why I watched it twice, and I might watch it a third time just out of leisure. But yeah, let's get straight into it. This movie was very interesting to me. It's the first time in a while I've actually left the theater pondering and actually thinking and taking something from it that I can apply into my own life. Ryan Coogler's direction doesn't just explore the southern world and the struggles that were facing at that time, but it also explores themes such as vampires and slavery, all to tell a story about freedom, which is one of the biggest themes that I took out of this movie. Freedom. What is freedom? And is freedom attainable in a colonized and oppressed world? The movie explores these themes through their characters, while taking its time to establish a relationship with the characters, delve into their motives, delve into why they think the way they think. Overall, leaving the audience actually having a relationship and connection with those characters. The theme of freedom is portrayed brilliantly between the two brothers, Smoke and Stack, both played by Michael B. Jordan, who put up an amazing performance. I mean, you wouldn't even be able to tell that these two were twin brothers, but I digress. After going through World War I, and doing casino heists back in Chicago, they wish to reside back in their hometown, Mississippi, and their ultimate goal is to start a juke joint, liberating their people and bringing a lot of money into their pockets, which is what they, at the time, deem as freedom. On the first night, however, we see a difference in approach. While Stack values bringing people together and even allowing the slaves to pay with credits, which is a currency that has no real value towards the brothers, he still allows it as he sees that it will bring people towards the business, and he sees that as the true value of it. Smoke takes immediate offense to this, seeing this as something that's going to hurt the business and not put wealth into their pockets, ultimately ignoring the people's circumstances as he sees this as a threat to his freedom. The distinctions between the two brothers are further fundamentalized by their personas, with Stack having a more antisocial and serious type of demeanor, and Stack having a lot more charisma. This blends well with the opposing values of the brothers, one not deeming interpersonal relationships as important, and the other valuing the people's needs, as he knows that will build a stronger connection with them. The irony of this, however, is shown as soon as Stack becomes a vampire, joining their cult-like nature that values things such as community, beliefs of love and joy and happiness, all things that align with him and sets him free from all the struggles of being a black man in this society that he's already oppressed and has to go through a struggle and fight for freedom. He has been given the key that he has been looking for his whole life. However, further down into the movie, we realize that there's conditions to this freedom. Because of a vampire's purgatory-like state, being immortal, they cannot revisit ancestors that have died. They cannot go to heaven or hell. They are stuck on earth for eternity. Yes, they have that freedom, but they cannot experience with their loved ones unless they turn their loved ones into vampires themselves. The severity of this is further emphasized as Smoke is approached by his brother as he tries to convince him to turn into a vampire, and later trying to do it by force. This obsession of turning others into vampires so they can remain in the purgatory state raises the question of how free are the vampires actually. Even though they equally unite regardless of their race and are granted immortal life, they are equally stained by having to murder their own loved ones in order to be united with them for eternity. Shining light to community, but dampening it with obsession and relentlessness. Ultimately, this obsession and relentlessness makes the mortals resent the vampires and not want to become vampires in the first place. The result of this is sorrow and despair, and it begs the question, how good is freedom, if not the people you can experience it with? Stack shows that freedom is meaningless without someone to bear it with, unraveling its heavy weight. Smoke also makes the viewer question freedom from an oppressed stance after he finds out that the Ku Klux Klan members were going to come to the juke joint the next morning to murder him and the community that went there, even though they promised that they would leave him alone after he brought the place, granting him that sense of freedom. The strong meaning of this scene is pulled from how the audience member knows the struggle, the trauma, and the hustle that the brothers had to endure for them to reach that point, and how so bad they wanted that freedom within the money, the music, and the power that the business would have given them. It's completely reasonable to feel like you would be free, but they are soon met with the realization that these resources will never truly belong to them, given their unfair circumstances. The people he fought for, and maybe even trusted, turning on him for no good reason, is a brutal reminder that freedom gained through power or loyalty can very well be poison at the root, as long as your complexion doesn't fit a certain criteria. Finally, in one of the most dopest scenes in the movie, Smoke kills all the clan members that came to ambush him, but gets fatally shot in the process. Accepting defeat and not tending to his wounds, he thinks about his lover and friends that he lost on that night. Smoke lights a cigarette and uses it as a means to escape that trauma and anxiety, his last sense of freedom before he passes away. But while he's smoking, he gets interrupted by the spirit of his lover and his child kindly ask him to put the cigarette down in order for him to embrace them. This holds weight due to the fact that Smoke consciously smokes throughout the movie to relieve anxiety and stress, but now finds it within his relations, while ultimately sets him free from the betrayal and sorrow, and what he thought was freedom. This is further demonstrated as the bleeding out clan member offers Smoke money in order for him to patch him up and keep him alive, but Smoke then shoots him. Now, I don't know about you, but I think if this happened earlier within the movie, Smoke would have agreed with that deal just because of the fact that he would have received money. This goes deeper though. This goes deeper and has a lot of underlying tones, such as colonization, control, and capitalism. The movie then raises a big question to the brothers themselves. Was there ever a possibility where they could have been free in the oppressed society that they live in, coming from where they came from? Was there ever going to be a possibility or reality where they could get that sense of freedom through power, respect, and money? Some may say that these breaking points were necessary in order for him to grow out of that naivety and see what true freedom is, with unconditional love and connection. In my opinion, freedom can be experienced in solitude without others. But what I believe the movie is trying to show is that there is a difference between freedom and meaningful freedom. In this world of continuous interpersonal relationships, freedom derived from purpose, joy, and identity is useless if not with others. Through the obsessive nature of vampires and the segregation and oppression of the Black community, Ryan Coogler excellently leaves the viewer thinking and plotting on the question, what is freedom, and is it ever attainable?